What's good, everybody? This is connorhedge. Just wanted to make a video showing how I mastered a song by Kings Kaleidoscope called Water Wasted off of their new LP, Baptized Imagination, that recently came out, and just kind of walk through my approach for this song. The mix already came to me in a really good spot. There was a lot of energy. The arrangement is really, really dope, and that's like 90% of it right there. So this is my session here, and I have the mix, and then I have a ref as well that I am constantly referencing as I'm making any moves. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play the mix and how I received it. Then we'll get into kind of what I felt it needed, and I'll show you step by step kind of what I did. So we're going to start with the mix.
Red light living, can't get enough. Too far down for giving up. Tell me when I lose your patience. I misbehaving. I miss the saving. I miss it all. Tell me when I lose your patience. I'm misbehaving.
So yeah, it sounded really cool. Ton of energy, arrangement, super dope. But there were a couple things that I noticed right off the bat, and really what it boiled down to on this track is just being able to control some dynamics, control some EQ, and kind of how I felt like the track was balanced as a whole. So I started off with FIRETHECLIP made by Acustica Audio, and this has just been a fun tool to not only clip but also just as a gain stage. This plugin is really cool because it's so simple. There's not a lot of room to overthink. So I personally just like how it sounds. I have it at about 3.5 here. And so I'm just kind of raising my initial level of the track here. So I'll play with and without it. There's going to be a big volume jump, but I'll show it to you anyways. So second in the chain, I have the Weiss digital mastering de-esser. I find this one to be a little more transparent, a little more musical, easier to use as far as the controls here. I really just kind of raise or lower the threshold and dial into where I think it sounds good. Not every track needs de-essing. I thought this track did. There are some hi-hats and sibilants that are kind of hitting around the same frequency range in like the 10K area that were just a little pokey, and I wanted to control those a little bit. So I'll play it with and without, and you can hopefully hear what I'm talking about. Yeah, so there's just that hi-hat kind of coming out of the left, panned a little left, and that in combination with the sibilance of the vocal, just wanted to control that just a little bit. So from there, I have Ozone 9, and I got a few things going on here. Ozone is really great because you can kind of, it's like plug-inception. You can load plugins within a plugin. Sounds so good. I know there's a lot of folks out there that swear by Ozone, and I am one of those folks. First thing I'm doing is I wanted to control some of the sub. I have a multiband compressor here controlling from about 70 hertz on down. Nothing crazy, but one thing I noticed when listening to the mix was the low end between the kick and the sub and the 808 and all that information just wasn't reacting very well to some of the limiting that I was trying to do, and just felt like it was throwing the track off balance. I'll show you what this sounds like with and without, and you can kind of hear how when I take it off, the low end kind of like starts to really screw around with the limiters.
I'm misbehaving. I miss the saving. I miss it all. Tell me when I lose your patience. I'm misbehaving.
I just felt like it needed a little control down there. you know, you want that energy to be there on the low end, but sometimes controlling it actually helps it bang more. By actually reducing or controlling the bass, it can help it to where it's hitting better on most systems, because a lot of systems are going to get overloaded, whether it be a car or a Bluetooth speaker, a phone, whatever. So this is just the way I felt sounded best for this song. Next, I have an imager, which is just really kind of standard, helping widen the track just a touch. So I'll play with and without the imager here. Yeah, so that's just kind of helping spread things a little bit. Very, very, very subtle, but it's easy to go overboard with imagers, especially in the mastering stage. So next, I have my first EQ here, which is doing a cut at about 1K. I think what I was hearing here is just a little harshness. I wanted to control some of the mid-range and just kind of help the track feel a little more balanced. The mix was just a little mid-forward, especially in this kind of 1K area. That wasn't super pleasing to my ear. So this is the first cut. I'll play with and without here. So that's my first equalizer. Second equalizer, doing a little bit more here, as you can see. A little more in the mid-range here. This is more towards the 600-700 area, up to like 900 cuts that I did that I felt helped just kind of open up the track, help it feel not so kind of mono and closed in and harsh, like I don't know what you call that, but whatever that sound is, that's the frequency. Up here, I had just some upper mid-range up into the 10K, just really small cuts here to kind of help with some of the sibilants, some of the hi-hats. I just want it to sound good in AirPods or on a Bose speaker, you know, whatever you're listening to on, just for the frequency spectrum to be really congruent and even across the board. So here is it with and without. Feels a little more open, a little wider, especially from these cuts in the middle here. Next, I have my first limiter, which is the Ozone Vintage limiter here. I have it set to modern. I have it set to about minus 1.8 decibels. So I'll play it with and without. So besides the obvious volume jump, I hear a little bit of fullness. I'm kind of feeling this enhancement, like a life or like an energy that's being brought by this limiter. And after that, we're gonna go to the Izotope Neutron Transient Shaper. And this thing is just so cool. Whether it's a master or a mix or stuff in the production phase, sound designing, whatever. This is just such a great tool. Highly recommend it. For this master, I felt like after FIRETHECLIP, the de-esser, everything going on in Ozone, I just wanted to bring back a little bit of the transients and just enhance them just a touch, especially everything below 6K. So I have kind of the multiband set up here to just enhance the transients that are below 6K, because that way I'm not undoing what I did to control the hi-hats, to control the sibilants. So I'll play this in the track so you can hear it here. It's very subtle. Just brings back some of the energy, brings back some of the snap of the snare, the attack of the kick drum, helps with the mid-range of the vocals as well. So I really, really like this Transient Shaper, and I have it kind of in between, sandwiched in between some limiters here, between the first limiter and ozone and then my final two limiting stages. So the next limiter is this T-Rack Stealth limiter that I just really like the sound of. It has a few options, but it's pretty straightforward. I like straightforward plugins for the most part. It's really simple, bumping 1.5 dB of gain here, and I just like what it does. I like the energy it brings. So I'll play it here with and without. And then my last limiter here is the Pro L2 by FabFilter. You can do a lot with this limiter. It's great for pretty much anything you throw at it. And this one I'm doing about 1.2 dB of gain. I have true peak limiting engaged. And this is just sort of the last little bit of energy, the last little bit of punch, and obvious volume that I'm trying to get out of this track. My goal when stacking limiters is to just take the workload, instead of having one limiter and all that workload, all that information, all that audio is being sent to one limiter. I like to kind of spread it out between a few different limiters that have a few different colors to them. And they're all doing different things, but the end goal is to create like a really transparent master where you're not like hearing the limiting kind of crunch down, press down on the track. It should sound open, dynamic, but at the same time, you want that energy from hitting the limiters in a specific way. So I felt like where these limiters were at just sounded good to my ear. I was able to actually get it pretty hot. I don't know if it's quite 7.1. This thing isn't always super accurate. To me, this was kind of the last step, the last thing it needed. So I'll play it for you here. I'm misbehaving. I miss the saving. I miss it all. Tell me when I lose your patience. I'm misbehaving. Hard time wishing I wasn't enough. Hard time looking for a better drug. Time for giving forever love. Time for living up. So at this point in the master chain, I was feeling really good about this track. The L2 being my kind of final leveler and all these limiters, along the way, I'm balancing between this song and between other songs on the album. And I just felt like this was a good landing place for this track. Small little moves that are kind of creating a bigger picture, ready to translate well, no matter what system you're listening on. So I'll go through one more time and play kind of the before and after here. Can't get enough, too far down for giving up. Tell me when I lose your patience. I'm misbehaving. I miss the saving. I miss it all. Tell me when I lose your patience. I'm misbehaving. Hard time wishing I wasn't enough. Hard time looking for a better drug. Time for giving forever love. Time for living never ever wrong. Tell me is the water wasted? Tell me is the water wasted? Tell me can I keep you? Yeah, so to my ears, I think mission was accomplished for this track. One other thing I wanted to mention is that I do have this ref gained up quite a bit. It was a little bit quieter, but for referencing, I want to make sure that I'm not referencing a huge volume jump, because then it's a little harder to hear kind of the moves that you've made. So that's about it for this track. Appreciate you guys watching. Let me know if you have any questions down below. I'm going to be posting more of these videos, some mastering videos, some production videos, mixing, and kind of everything in between. So stay tuned. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.